Loretta Lynn was on the radio. I was 14, riding shotgun in my dad's truck somewhere outside of Tulsa, and he changed the station so fast he nearly swerved into a drainage ditch. I asked him what was wrong with it. He said, "Nothing's wrong with it, that's the problem." I didn't understand what he meant for about 10 years. Turns out, country radio has a long history of deciding what's too honest for its own audience. And the songs that get silenced tend to be the ones people remember longest. That tension between what country music says and what country radio allows is older than most of the listeners tuning in. Here are 10 songs that got banned and the reasons they did. Earlier that year, Hank Thompson had a hit called "Wild Side of Life" that blamed women, specifically the ones hanging around honky-tonks, for men's infidelity. Kitty Wells responded with a song written by J.D. Miller suggesting that maybe, just maybe, men bore some responsibility too. The NBC radio network banned it. So did the Grand Ole Opry. It still reached #1 on the Hot Country Songs chart, becoming the first single by a solo female artist to ever top that chart. The Grammy Hall of Fame inducted it in 1998. The song that wasn't allowed on the radio became a permanent part of the genre's foundation, and in doing so, helped crack open a space for female country artists that Nashville's establishment had never intended to leave open. Lynn recorded "The Pill," and then her label, MCA, sat on it for 3 years before releasing it. They were fully aware the song, which seemed to advocate oral contraceptives, would ignite a firestorm in the country music establishment. Dozens of stations refused to play it. The concern was that the lyrics would encourage promiscuity among women. Lynn's take was simpler. She said, "I was the first one to write it like the women lived it." When the song cracked the top 5 on the Hot Country Singles chart, stations had no choice. As Lynn put it on PBS's American Masters, they had to take it out of being banned and play it. Everybody had to play it when it was on the charts. Written by folk singer Peter Lafarge, The Ballad of Ira Hayes tells the true story of Ira Hayes, an Akimel Odom Marine pictured in the iconic photograph of 6 soldiers raising the American flag over Iwo Jima. Hayes came home a hero, became an alcoholic, and was dead at 32. Cash released it as the lead single from Bitter Tears, Ballads of the American Indian, an album partly inspired by what Cash believed to be Cherokee ancestry and his own bloodline. He later discovered he was not of Native American descent, but he never stopped advocating. When stations refused to play the song, Cash took out a full-page ad in Billboard, which he said cost like hell, and wrote directly to programmers. DJs, station managers, owners, etc., where are your guts? It was exactly the kind of move that would later define the outlaw country spirit. The same anti-establishment defiance that Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings would build entire careers around. The song spent 20 weeks on the chart and peaked at #3. Garth Brooks was in Los Angeles for the ACM Awards when the Rodney King riots erupted. He watched the 6-day disturbance unfold on television, including the savage beating of an African-American taxi driver at the hands of police. The song he wrote afterward envisions a world where people are free to love each other without barriers of class, race, religion, or sexual orientation. Nashville's ultra-conservative circles heard one thing: gay rights. Stations pulled it. It peaked at #12, making it Brooks' first single to miss the top 10. Then came the 1993 Super Bowl. Brooks was scheduled to sing the national anthem and had an agreement with NBC to air "We Shall Be Free" immediately after. On game day, NBC executives told him the song was too controversial and they were not going to play it. Brooks refused to sing and left the stadium. NBC caved and the video aired. The lyrics of Red Ragtop never use the word abortion. They don't need to. A young couple gets pregnant unexpectedly and makes a decision, and that was enough. Of the 147 country stations reporting to Radio and Records magazine in 2002, 7 outright refused to play it. WTQR-FM in Winston-Salem, North Carolina held off at first, then added it. "We didn't get complaints," said program director Bill Dotson. "We were slow getting on it because we thought we might have complaints. But if it isn't hurting anyone else, let's get on it. The song peaked at number 5. On March 10th, 2003, 9 days before the invasion of Iraq, the Dixie Chicks played the Shepherd's Bush Empire Theatre in London. Introducing their cover of Travelin' Soldier, lead singer Natalie Maines told the audience that they did not want this war, this violence, and that they were ashamed that the President of the United States was from Texas. The Guardian reported it. Country radio responded by effectively erasing the best-selling female band in American history. Cumulus Media issued a company-wide ban. Toby Keith, who had his own beef with the group, performed in front of a backdrop showing Maines alongside Saddam Hussein. Stations set up trash cans for fans to throw away CDs. A bulldozer crushed their albums on camera. The FBI identified a credible plot to kill Maines during a concert in Dallas. Travelin' Soldier had been sitting at number 1 on the Hot Country Songs chart. Then it vanished. Merle Haggard, nobody's idea of a liberal, called the backlash a verbal witch hunt and lynching. Here is the thing that connects all of these. Every single one of these songs got banned because someone at a radio station decided the audience could not handle it. Not that the song was badly written, not that the production was poor, just that the message was too much. And every single time, the audience proved them wrong. My dad changed that station outside Tulsa not because he disapproved of the song. He changed it because he did not want to have a conversation he was not ready for. The radio stations did the exact same thing, just with a bigger dial. Musgraves mentioned a joint and expressed support for same-sex relationships in Follow Your Arrow, and multiple stations banned it. One anonymous programmer told Billboard, "I wish I could play that song on my station." It still reached number 10, sold over 1 million copies, earned a platinum certification, and won the Country Music Association's Song of the Year in 2014. Musgraves reflected on it later with a kind of clarity that only comes with distance. It ended up tanking. It was banned by country radio, but I would never trade that for the love and the people it brought to my world. McGraw's second entry on this list landed here for perceived offensive Native American stereotypes. Some stations banned Indian Outlaw. It still reached number 8 on the Hot Country Songs chart. The song remains a strange artifact, the kind of track that makes modern listeners wince while also letting them understand exactly why it was a hit in 1994. Lil Nas X purchased the instrumental for $30 and recorded the song in a single day. After it went viral on TikTok, Billboard placed it on the Hot Country Songs chart, then quietly removed it, saying the song does not embrace enough elements of today's country music to chart in its current version. The removal pointed to something more complicated than sonic classification. Billboard's R&B chart was originally titled Race Music. When the industry enforces genre borders after a song has already found its audience, the question stops being about banjos and becomes about who gets to make what. Billy Ray Cyrus heard the original and loved it. He said he thought it was honest, humble, had an infectious hook, and included a banjo. What the hell more do you need? The remix featuring Cyrus hit number 1 on the Hot 100 and set the record for most weeks at the top with 19 consecutive weeks. This last one is different. In February of 2021, TMZ posted a video of Morgan Wallen using a racial slur with a group of friends. iHeartMedia, formerly Clear Channel Communications, the company that had consolidated country radio into a near monopoly over the previous 2 decades, pulled his music from roughly 135 stations. Cumulus, Entercom, CMT, Sirius XM, and Pandora followed. His label, Big Loud Records, suspended his contract indefinitely. And then something paradoxical happened. His streaming numbers surged. Downloads spiked 67%. Overall sales jumped more than 100%. His album Dangerous finished 2021 as the year's top-performing album across all genres, then set a record for most consecutive weeks in the top 10 by a single artist. 1 week into the ban, only 18% of country radio listeners even knew it was happening. The ban lasted about 6 months before Sand in My Boots was back in heavy rotation. Country radio has always been a gatekeeper with one hand on the lock and the other checking which way the wind blows. The songs change, the reasons shift, from birth control to race to war to sexuality. But the pattern holds. Someone decides the audience isn't ready. The audience decides otherwise. I'm older now than my dad was in that truck outside Tulsa. I've heard every Loretta Lynn record front to back, including the one that almost put us in a ditch. He still won't tell me why he changed the station that fast, but I stopped needing him to. Somewhere between Kitty Wells in 1952 and Lil Nas X in 2019, country music answered the question anyway.